All right, family. All right. Welcome back and welcome into the podcast. Welcome in us who are the 1200 plus strong. And before we get going, your boy hopped on real hype, just ready to talk and share knowledge with the family today. Of course, we forgot to kill the sound, so let's do that again. Welcome in us who are the 1200 plus strong, who believe in, who love after, who have fun and enjoy, who study, who hunger and thirst and seek after that which is a different view. Family, welcome in today. Today's topic, kind of a grounded one, centered around some things that we have talked about before, again, as we march ever closer, right, to Memorial Day weekend. We on May the 19th. Happy Monday, family, right? We hope y'all have a magnificent Monday, right? Excuse me. Again, some things to watch out for, and we have to have this conversation, right? Again, this deals around the topic we have talked about before, deception, right? Which, when you look in Oxford's dictionary, deals with, and listen, for those who kind of, again, there's many defenses in the mind, family, that have been twisted and put there by massa, using that which God gave us, the Maker gave us, right? The Great Spirit, so on and so forth, gave us to help us defend ourselves and our minds and our hearts against that which is lie and deception in this life, right? Gaslighting normally comes into play here, all this kind of stuff of what we're about to talk about today. So, again, we ask that you listen with your heart as well as with your mind, so that you pick up on what's being said, right? Because this affects our brothers and sisters, and again, many of these things that we talk about happen in the home first. It's unfortunate the two people can't talk together, right? It is. It's a sad thing to watch. This happens when business deals break down. This happens when homes are destroyed, right? When families break up, relationships break up, with boyfriend and girlfriends, right? You know, we don't. There's a process that happens in the beginning. Again, you want to talk about the twisting of things. Friends become friends, and again, as we say, you should marry your best friend, family, right? Heart is full today, man, because again, we are so tired of watching death and destruction kill, steal, and destroy. I am so done with it. It was the heart behind, and is still, why I made this podcast, and why we're going to continue to talk a certain way when we talk about people. This ain't about protecting feelings per se. This is about giving perspective, right? You cannot coddle yourself as a baby, right, trying to walk. You cannot take the steps necessary unless you fall down, family, right? And as you fall down, you must be willing to get back up again and take those steps. My apologies if on this Monday morning to get a little preachy, family. So, okay. The topic of deception here, or centered around the word deception, right, is this plantation that burned down in Louisiana. Family, did you see? Did you see it? Right. Of course, the Louisiana Fire Department said that it had something to do with, whatever actions happened up in the attic of this plantation, right? So you got to have the conversation. Specifically to our white brothers and sisters, but not only them. Anyone who's had their hand involved in slavery, whether not really the field Negro, but again, most field Negroes, well, some of them, wanted off the plantation. Not all of them did back then, right? The house Negro, the bought Negro. New one that we're going to bring out that's already been out, just the first time y'all have heard it on the podcast, the uppity Negro. Because we use that excuse for our brothers and sisters out here of darker skin tone, tan skin tone, who want to learn, who want to have an education. They are labeled uppity Negro. We understand that uppity Negro deals with this kind of when you become bourgeois and you become disconnected. So we understand where part of this topic comes from, part of that term comes from, but it's not only that. It also comes from, now I'm saying Negro, because, again, we understand the other word used is horrible, highly subjective. And when you really talk on it, unless you're going to call us negus, Negus, then there is no need to use, we're just saying what it is, to each their own, right? Excuse me. You either want to come off this plantation or you don't, family. And it seems as if many don't. That's just not a knock on anybody. We're just saying that's what it is in humanity, okay, in society. You're seeing it. Which is what one of these kind of topics comes into when we talk about this. But for those who had joy in watching that thing burn, family, come on. Are we going to be... see, this is where the disconnect comes in, right? This happened during George Floyd's murder, execution, however you want to say it, which both of those terms would apply. You had cops standing around watching someone kill a criminal. I mean, could you do that to the rest of them? For bad checks or cigarettes, right? Excuse me. Morning throat here, I guess. I forgot who the other brother was in New York, was selling cigarettes, with the whole "I can't breathe" thing comes in, right? Which is now a sick thing that we hear every time police officers are executing our brothers and sisters. Old school stuff, family. This ain't went nowhere. Just recently, right? Literally today, in learning and in class, I put myself in class, family. That's how I look at it when I'm listening to other podcasts and stuff. See, again, this thing is about learning. If in the American slave codes, right, which again we'll get into as we go on further and further here, we got May and June, family, to talk about this kind of thing, because again, with Memorial Day coming up, the idea of, the beginning of the next week, and of course this weekend will be Memorial Day weekend, or considered that way, and you really don't look at it after the day passes, right? So when you speak on the things of the United States, not so much what happened on the American land and the soil, but that in which is created on top of it, which is the United States, right? We got to understand that's evil of the highest sort. There is no celebration. There is no, ooh, my grandpappy worked there. Not unless you're talking about it from the standpoint of, yo, my griggity great grandpappy really gave your griggity grandpappy a hellish way to live. And I'm sorry that happened. And we shouldn't have made a damn dime off that thing. So much so, this is what I got. We gonna give back. Now, we all know, in me saying this, right, that in the hearts and minds of humans, because of deception, that's not happening. Which is why we got to get it from the mud. Speaking to our black brothers and sisters, right? You're going to have to get it from the mud. But when we talk about getting them from the mud, it's not as hard as what you think. But you cannot be attached to this lifestyle, this life that's been built. That's what we mean by lifestyle. We ain't talking like our homosexual brothers and sisters, none of that. Okay, we're done on that over here. That's part of the witch hunt. You can look at it however you want to. That's part of the witch hunt. It's time for us to live in peace, family. We have been fighting and battling too long. We've been living in war too long. It's time for a time of peace. It's time for a time of renaissance, family. It's time to run it back to that time period where art reigns supreme, language reigns supreme, love and light reign supreme. To balance that which has been reigning supreme so long so far, which has been war and battle. Again, we separate the two. War, right? I actually spelled it wrong last time. I think it's W-E-R-R-E. I'm almost, from our German brothers and sisters, I'm almost positive that's the way that's said. See, again, when we do this with white folks, this is for our black brothers and sisters, right? We use the Garden of Eden as an analogy. Humans, aka Adam and Eve, are living in peace. They're in their calling, as these terms we use in the church, right? And then the serpent comes. Again, our Jewish brothers and sisters speak an analogy as much as they do actual fact. You have to take that into consideration when you read the Bible. When you read the Jewish text, as they say. because it is a Jewish belief you're believing. Just saying, it's a Middle Eastern, it's an Eastern belief you're believing. Okay? Now, comes from origins not of this earth and all that. We get that. Excuse me. But still, you got to pay attention to the stuff there behind the scenes. And we're going to wrap up here because this is not, we're not taking each other's time today, family. You either believe a thing or you don't. Okay? This goes in line with what we were talking about last time with that mother sitting there. We giving ammo to kids, and it was an exchange for babysitting some other kids. Ammo? This is the reward? Kids can't even get money in their pocket to start their own life. You know, I had heard a thing which I believe to be true. You need to have a certain amount of money before you get out here in this sick system. Because see, again, this system is not set for you. Right? We have named the class codes here that you can clearly see where it's against. I ain't even gonna put like say men and women in there. I'm not gonna do that. Right? Although you could put men in there from the standpoint of the good upstanding man. You part of that slave class. The bully wants to make sure that if you about your wife and your family, if you about working on a good job and just doing conscientious work and getting the hell out of there and going home, okay, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you against that. You on the bottom. Same thing with the woman. Right? You caring about your family. So you kind of a Poindexter and all that type of stuff. Same thing with body shaming. You on the bottom with that as well. Because again, this idea is for fake bodies, not to accentuate the natural body. But I digress. Different story for different day. Slave class, right? The woman is in there. Okay, these are just things you see from history. The child is in there, right? Of course, at the top of the class is the black man and woman. And the brown seed, they are there. When we say brown, we're mixing anybody who's got that tan, brown skin tone, right? Light tan, all that. Y'all there. Okay? Poor white folks, they're there. When we talk about the rich, and it's cool when you watch a TV show or this thought process comes out here, that the rich, right, your millionaires, as they say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millionaires, even your heavy hitters, they're there to make sure their system keeps working, family. It's not like, I made it. When you make it, we had said this a long time ago, speaking on government. Again, thank y'all for your support, and definitely go back and re-reference some of the stuff that's part of the foundation of this podcast. The reason the thing is set up is so that this system can continue to work. So we can keep people on the bottom. Don't give me Oprah and LeBron and Tyler Perry. I don't care, Michael Jordan. Don't. We talk. Money is accessible and easy all the way around for folks. That's the way it's got to be for everybody when you're sharing. But we ain't on sharing over here, right? We let that go. And we put something else in its place. Don't matter the name you put it. We put something else in its place other than that. As a result, it has a certain set of consequences that comes. Certain people are getting that bank. The rest of y'all going to work to make sure a certain set of people get that bank. You're going to have to get that in your heart and your spirit. If you don't believe it, so be it. Right? You don't even have to, because the thing is working anyway that way. This happens with the church. This is why with Christians, I got a little bit of an issue. See, when we said last time, as far as going to organizational stuff and how I'm done on it, I'm done on how these organizational things work. Is there a certain thing as far as church is holy and all this kind of thing and being around people that are like-minded like you? We've already talked about that here on this podcast. You can have church right in the middle of the street. Let's stop the thing with the building and This is not how it works. We're supposed to be talking. We just passed Mother's Day talking about kids with their mothers. Talk to them in the highways, the byways. Anytime you got a chance to talk, if that's for the kids, wait now. If that works for the kids, what do you think about adults? We have to take the time, no matter where it is, for us to talk to each other. I'm not talking about being disruptive. We got to take the time to talk to each other. Because if we don't, it ain't going to happen, family. The words of life, the words of peace, the words of joy, right? The words of love reside in you. Just like the opposite. Depends on what you're going to say to folks, family. Again, we're done on the modus operandi. M-O is how people operate. I'm good on that. It's backwards, it's pseudo, and it's been given by Massa. No, don't get mad at your brother and sister here as we closing. Don't get mad at your brother and sister because they happy that plantation burned down. That's the time to join in with them. Unfortunately, Massa made sure, especially when we're talking the poor white class now, right, that they brought you over as a diversion, same way they used the native brother and sister to go hunting down not only native, but that was one of the things that I learned today. The Westu in the native tribe, WESTO, back in the 1700s. So that's 1601 to 1700, the 17th century, right? Not the 1700s. Well, I mean, it operated through the 17th, but during the 17th century, Europe made sure to do good or evil, you don't do it by yourself. So somebody telling you that the people who see it right, you do it by yourself, that's false. That's false. That's false. It's a falsity. Incorrect, incomplete. Certain things do start with one person, they do not stop there. Anything of long-lasting effect does not stop there. Any inventor that invents anything that's helped society the thing does not exist, right? Trying to find these words. It does not exist solely by themselves. People got to buy into a thing. And it's time, family, that we buy into something else opposite of what Massa has been telling us, right? We hope y'all go in peace today, that you go in grace today, because this is real. This is real, right? And that we bring healing to the dying places, right? No cover for evil anymore, man. Healing to the dying places, right? It's time to act as doctors in real life and bring healing to folks that are hurting and dying. Let us listen to each other, listen to each other's pain, man. The stuff our ancestors that we now live through today, man, there was some high pain that went on in them plantations and on them fields. No, let that mess burn down. There's something better. Something better. We're not supporting violence and all that over here, so drop that mess. It's not right. It shouldn't have been. And it's time to go to something better, right? Again, looking forward, family. Thank y'all who have hopped on the new podcast webpage or Facebook page, however you want to look at it, right? Again, it's just the beginnings of things as we approach year 2 here, right? So things will just increase as it goes along. Again, this is it. This is it for your boy, right? We're gonna sit until they shut me down, right? However it is, this is what it, because this is the teaching, this is the truth, right? However people want to do a thing in their life, that's their business. But this is the truth of the thing, family. So this is where we're gonna go with it, right? We will continue on down the road. There's some things to talk about. There's still some things to talk about, right? To shed light on some things from history that we still need to learn, right? Same with me, with y'all, anybody, right? We don't know it all, so. We will talk to y'all soon, family. Thank you for walking this road with me. And until next time, and as always, look to find the beauty in a different view.